Hello friends, today we are going to be going over some funny one-star reviews for Stormlight Archive and Lies of Locke, Lamora. This is a series on my channel that I started years ago, and I would go through various different rants, and sometimes I would read off the entire review, and sometimes I would just read off a snippet that I personally found amusing in some fashion. And I do this for books that I absolutely love, as well as books that I'm not the biggest fan of, so nothing's off the table. If it's a review that I think is funny, that's what this is for. And for all of these, you don't have to have read the books, so I won't be reading anything that is spoilery. Before I jump into these funny one-star reviews, though, a big thank you to Book of the Month for sponsoring today's video. Book of the Month is a fast-growing online book subscription service. Every single month, you have 5 different books that you can choose from that are carefully selected. You can get a brand new hardcover every month for a very affordable price. And if ever you're not interested in any of the titles they have one month, you can just skip that month, and then you can use that credit in future months, and you can also use those credits to get add-ons. So maybe you realized that months ago there was a book that you were really interested in. You can use that saved up credit to go ahead and get that book. And you can actually get 2 different add-ons in a single month for a total of 3 books if that's what you so choose. Going through all of the books that they have available this month. First up, we have the speculative fiction book The Perishing. Set in hazy 1930s LA, this genre-bending tale of a pioneering journalist explores shifts in time, identity, and love. We also have a historical fiction called The Lincoln Highway. In this 1950s set novel, shenanigans ensue when Watson hits the open road with 2 friends and a brother in tow. Romance lovers, we also have The Ex-Hex. Break out the candy corn. This quirky, steamy rom-com about a major post-breakup hex will put a powerful spell on you. We also have literary fiction from Colson Whitehead, Harlem Shuffle, a riveting and wildly historical heist story from a contemporary master that will leave you feeling in on the deal. Thriller fans, we have Everything We Didn't Say. Pushed out of her hometown after high school, a woman returns to solve the riddle of her family and a horrific crime. For 2 of my add-ons this month, I got a fantasy called The Book of Magic by Alice Hoffman, which is part of the Practical Magic series, as well as a contemporary fiction called Apples Never Fall, which follows a wealthy family whose matriarch goes missing. You can easily look up add-ons under their All Books tab. It says featured add-ons. You can search for various different books that you might be interested in. But either way, those are the 5 books and then a couple of add-ons that you could choose from this month. Thank you again to Book of the Month for sponsoring today's video, and now on to the funny one-star reviews. The Lies of Locke, Lamora. This is an adult fantasy story. All of these in today's video are adult fantasy. This is a heist story that follows a group of thieves, and these thieves don't steal to try to give back to the poor. They don't steal because they're morally gray and that's just how they get their money. They steal because they serve a nameless god, and that is their way of serving that god, is to steal things. So it's actually kind of an interesting take on the thief character type that you find in fantasy a lot. But it's sometimes a little extra detail oriented for some people. Sometimes it's a little too adult for some people. So we're gonna read some of those. A back cover blurb compares Lynch with Charles Dickens, probably because of the orphan characters. The only thing that Lynch has in common with Dickens is that Lynch writes like he's paid by the word. There are many needless descriptions and conversations. Every 50 pages or so, Lynch regurgitated another description of these watery, rainbow-colored towers. I started to wonder if it was his writing prompt when he hit a block. If so, why didn't an editor trim them out? Cover art is gorgeous, though. For a while, I thought I was going to read Red Seas Under Red Skies and Republic of Thieves because the cover art is breathtaking. But the fact of the matter is, I don't care. I want Locke Lamora to die a gruesome, watery death, or maybe just fade away, like the nobody he is. 1 star is almost too generous for this piece of poop. Next one is just referring to the magic system, and it says, the magic system is so soft, you could drown in it. So, there are some magic people, and they can do literally anything, it seems. Protect you from physical harm. Teleport, but not upstairs, I guess. Torture you in the worst ways without moving a muscle. Talk to you in your head, even though they gave you a stupid candle to contact them in the first place, etc. I don't know what the magic guy is capable of and where his limits are, so that makes it kind of hard to be impressed by anything he does. The next one says, this was maybe one of the worst books I've ever read. Granted, I had just finished reading Rothfuss, Martin, and some Sanderson novels, but dear Lord, this book was awful. No direction, a million proper nouns that have absolutely no relevance to the story, and an Ocean 11 style plot? Just kidding. Nothing clever, nothing smart whatsoever happens. Just luck and poor writing. Sorry, I couldn't stand this book. I was going to donate my copy to our local library, but realized I didn't want anyone else to read it either. This next one, the review, I love that this is how the review starts. It just in all caps says, LOL. DNF on page 68, and that was a stretch. I only kept reading because I had a bet with myself over if there would be a female character or not. Well, there wasn't one by page 68. Total drag of a book about a special boy who is the best at being a thief or something. Many made-up words. Overall, just too familiar in a way I dislike. Do not recommend. Read N.K. Jemisin instead. The next reviewer says, as an avid subway reader, I have a 30-minute commute to and from home and work. Reading helps pass the time from dealing with overcrowding, sweaty, loud commuters. This book does not help pass that time. Between the heavily depiction of drugged animals used for labor or its dry description of the character's environment, I could not stay awake on this book. I have tried 3 times to continue this book and finish it, but it drains my soul. This next one is sort of wholesome, but I mean, it's cute. It says, I did not finish this book. I wanted so much to like it, as it was recommended to me by one of my daughters. Sorry, Kate, I just couldn't do it. It was just too darn wordy. The author went into far too much detail about literally everything. I would get hooked by the story, and then boom, my eyes would glaze over, because there were far too many details every few paragraphs. I wanted to yell, cut to the chase, Scott. Oh well, too many books, so little time. Onward and upward. What if this mom sounds super nice, but I'm just imagining this mom, the daughter's like, what'd you think of it, Mom? And then she just like sends her a link to her Goodreads review. This one says, I never rated this, so here it is. 1 star. 1 star. This book is like a date with an arrogant, fedora-wearing libertarian who won't stop calling you milady. Who still thinks swearing is the height of edginess, only second, naturally, to the fedora. That's all the ones for the Lies of Locke, Lamora. The last few here are going to be for Rhythm of War, which is the 4th book in the Stormlight Archive series. And once again, no spoilers, but I've been enjoying seeing reviews for books later in a series because I think it's very interesting for people that have gone that far into an epic fantasy where you've had to read thousands of pages beforehand to suddenly see them rate something 1 star. Like, what is it that they really hated about this next installment? And these ones are fun. This first one says, went from medieval political thriller to a nerd lore fever dream. I'll always long for the days when the story was about men wielding magical swords and shiny armor, and not about depression, PTSD, and an incomprehensible babble of sci-fi fantasy jargon. I found this so funny because this is book 4 in a series where the first book spends hundreds of pages showing you a guy who is very depressed. Not only do we see this man depressed in present day, we also see him depressed as a little boy. We see him depressed at all times in his life. We also see people depressed in book 2, in book 3, and I don't know where on earth they got the idea. If you've read Stormlight Archive, why did they ever think this was a medieval? It's not. Ugh. Obviously, I'm a fan, right? So if I was a super fan of the other, sure, I'd be all like, meh, about those ones also, but I'm not a super fan of Lies of Lamora. Reviewer is, of course, entitled to their own opinion. But when was Stormlight not... my voice is getting really weird. When was Stormlight not about a character with depression or PTSD or other things involving mental health? It's always been. I don't understand. Give them the incomprehensible sci-fi fantasy jargon part, though, because book 4 does get pretty out there. This next person says, I'm out, Sanderson. You lost me at your whitewashed and overwrought attempts at trying to write mental illness into your characters, which seem to serve no purpose beyond making you seem woke. Yeah, geez, writing people with emotions. Not to mention the sameness each installment of Stormlight Archive is beginning to exude. Also, you know what they say about giving your magic systems more attention than your plot? Well, I'm not sure they say anything about that, but they would if they'd picked up this hollow doorstop. It is a really big book. It could be a doorstop for sure. It was good while it lasted, but fantasy is stepping up and books like this ain't it. This person said, okay, hold on, let me backtrack. I actually kind of get what this person is saying, but I want to add to it. This next one says, I would not recommend this book in 2020. Wait a year or so and read it. Things aren't that much better so far, but that's not my point. Anyway, it says it starts out great, and you are happy to see all your old friends. Then ends pretty quick, and it becomes a tale of misery. Not recommended for 2020. Absolutely understand that when times are tough, it's not always the easiest to read a book that's also a really difficult thing to pick up. I completely understand that. For some people it is because it's something they can relate to and they can connect with. Some people need something a lot cheerier. So I completely understand that, except for, does that make a book 1 star? Anyway, the last review says, for Rhythm of War, unbelievably bad. This can't be Sanderson. He must have used a ghost and something went wrong. This ends the series for me. I know what a ghost writer is and I know what they're referring to, but I'm just imagining Sanderson being like, oh man, I'm tired. I've got my YouTube channel now. I'm citing all these books all the time. And you know what? I think I need a ghost to write my next book for me. What's great is that it's not just a ghost. It's a ghost and then something went wrong. So this ghost was not at fault, right? This ghost was fine, but then something happened.
Working hard. You want some water?
That is it for some funny 1-star reviews, or at least I found them funny. Let me know which of these was your favorite, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, I'll have my playlist linked in the description bar down below. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to check out Book of the Month. I'll have it in the description bar also, and I'll see you all later. Bye.